There's a code amongst all of the life forms, vast, bigger than me and you can even think of. And he will always come for you if you are emitting that code, no matter what body you end up in. But it takes everyone a time and a space to learn this. And they've been learning ever since. These beings here and all of their divisions, all of these different animals and all their divisions, all their tribes, all their nations, they're all here to learn one thing. And you see how long that's taking? Let me tell you why. I'm going to conclude it why. Do you know how when you have children, because you have one, what are you trying to keep your child from realizing too early about? Sex. Okay? Now, if we couldn't see the code right then and begin to apply it to the higher levels, this is why mankind and woman are in folly. Because they don't know how to take the simple things that are going on in nature and the simple things that we're doing and imagine what our parents and what they're doing and how they're conducting things. So minus all the cooties and all the weird perversions that we put around the act of sex, as we are calling it, it is the concept that a pole goes into a hole. Okay? So it's the concept that two things that are totally different connect together. And when you connect them together, you create life. So really, what we're saying when we don't want our children to learn about this too early is we don't want them to know about the power of creation too early. So when you think of the grandparents, the big beings, that means that they don't want humans, if you will put it now back in the category, humans realizing the power of unity too soon. Because once they realize the power of unity, then they can create. And they will be like beyond the gods. Because see, the gods are dualistic themselves. They're still not getting it. All external forms are not getting it. Do you understand where I'm coming from here? Like all of these external beings, even if it was one out there, and if it's not pointing to human or whatever kind of entity is putting energy into them to put it into themselves, they haven't learned a master lesson. So here's also what the parents set up. You will see all of these benefits from never learning about this. Just like a parent will do every single thing they can to keep their child from learning about sex. Because the problem is here is once they do learn, now you got to be concerned about what they create. Because what they create causes burdens on the family, especially if they don't know what they're doing. And that's exactly what happened in the Garden of Eden as a metaphor. That Yahweh, which is clearly the Tetragrammaton, was in the garden. I don't know if this was him playing the snake or him playing the parent, but it's a code. YHVH is a code. And what this code breaks down to is that, let's say if we break it into separate characters, you have an all-pervading, unmovable master being and two of the offspring. These two different offspring were being groomed like animals in the garden. They hadn't come to full fruition in creation. This is why they were naked. Naked is symbolic for an animal because animals don't wear clothes. Okay? So as they were running around in the garden of delights, Nakash, which happens to be Kundalini, the serpent being, rose up in the female of these two from her consumption of something in the garden, which was an aphrodisiac. All of the plants are alive. Some of these plants are aphrodisiac, and that means that they're literally androgynous plants. If you eat them, you will feel sexually stimulated. And in Eve eating this, what they're calling the apple, right? But there was no apples then, obviously. The original apple does not look anything like the apple we're eating right now. So whatever this fruit was, when she ate it, she became stimulated and she gave some then to the other one, the other counterpart, and he ate it and he became aroused. And they proceeded to copulate. And when they copulate, their eyes were open. They knew. This means they figured out that the pole, when it goes in the hole, creates. Okay? So then they hear something. Okay? This could be like an earthquake or a shudder of whatever this powerful being. When it starts getting closer, you hear it. You know what I mean? Like, I'm sure the presence of this being, like they say they can feel people when they walk into the room. Imagine this being. When it comes around, every single thing knows it's coming. Okay? So it came. And then male and female are sitting there like, and already as a master, you can tell what's going on. Just like if you walk into a room with kids that have been now messing around in the sexual thing, they have this weird kind of thing going on their face, right? So it walks in and it's like, okay, what's going on? And then the female says, we're naked. And then the being says, who even told you you were naked? And so what this means is basically, you know something that you're not even supposed to know. How do you know this? This has nothing to do with a physical snake being the evil being. Okay? But it's the grand form saying, how do you even know you're naked? It's almost like you know the answer before the question. Uh-oh. You've been